Today we're going to do one of the Marvel shows, one of the television shows that syncs up with the MCU. And the one we're going to do today, I'm sure you can guess, judging by what I'm wearing here, is, say it with me now, Luke Cage Season 2. That's right, you knew. Alright, let's start off by saying that this might be one of the best seasons of shows that the MCU has done. I was really impressed with this. That said, it's not flawless, not by a long shot. But the flaws are interesting, actually. It's not like, say, the Inhumans, where the flaws are just, it's lazy and it sucks. Or Iron Fist, where it's confusing and frustrating and doesn't make sense and sucks. So you'll notice sort of a pattern with me. If I overall like something, I tend to start with the bad news and then segue into the good stuff, and vice versa. So we're going to start with where I think there was some opportunity for improvement, and then I'm just going to sing the praises of this show. It was a really good job overall. It is so hot in here right now. I live in Seattle, and we don't typically have air conditioning because we don't typically need it. However, it has been a crazy hot summer, and as a result, we have to buy all these fans to stay cool, but the fans screw with the microphone. So for me to do this, I have to turn all the fans off, which means as I do this, I'm just getting disgusting. I'm just... So by the time I'm done with this, I will probably be wetter than, let's say, Marie Boutin at an NRA convention. Pretty sure that's not how you pronounce her last name. She'll be very disappointed. So let's see. Let's start off with some of the things that didn't work. So obviously there's going to be some spoilers. I tried to wait a while. Season 2 of Luke Cage has been out, so you've had ample time. But if you haven't seen it and don't want spoilers, get out now. You're still here. It's on you. Okay, so one huge annoying thing that happens in this is that Danny Rand shows up, Iron Fist. We don't like him to begin with. He's an annoying character. He kind of works in the Defenders because he gets to be that character that causes the drama. On his own, he's really insufferable. But he has a cameo episode in this season that is just him at his absolute worst. He is there to basically lecture Luke Cage about inner peace and all this nonsense. It's like, dude, you are a filthy, rich, white guy who's the chosen one, let's not forget that, and you go to Harlem to lecture people about finding inner peace. Could you be any more obnoxious? And he doesn't even serve any real purpose. He's there to basically just remind us that this is part of the MCU, as if that isn't already a thing we all know. He says he's there to help, but he's there for one episode. It's not as if at the end of the episode, okay, well, that's taken care of, I'll leave. He just leaves because he's clearly only, the actor is clearly only contracted to do that one episode. It makes no sense for him to just leave. He's mentioned in giving a character a little something. We can not spoil that, and that makes sense. And Colleen, she shows up, and she's a fine addition. She's fine there. But for the most part, yeah, this whole cameo, Danny Rand, God, could we please just kill his character? I hate him so much. Don't you? There's also these two very weird fourth wall breaking moments that don't belong there. They completely take you out. It's just not that kind of movie. They belong more in like a Deadpool situation. For example, Luke Cage says at one point, I co-produced this. And he's talking about getting something out of a vending machine. Not only does that not even make sense, but it was just such a weird wink to the audience. And another time he says, hey, it's my show. And it just... It might have worked if those were organic things for him to say in the context of what was going on, but they weren't. It was just a weird fourth wall break, and they should have done that. I forgot to go grocery shopping, and all I have is this cheese and some Chivas. This is my adulthood. Bullets don't kill Luke Cage. We have established this. And yet, for 2 seasons now, everyone's solution to him is, what if we shoot him? They don't even try different areas. They always shoot right about where the special effects people can put the thingamabobbers to make it look like bullets are bouncing off him. Like, at least aim for the eyes or something. Do something different. It's annoying because we see the same fight scenes over and over again. He walks into a room and everybody shoots at him and the bullets bounce off and they just keep trying. Like maybe the 105th bullet, that'll be the money maker. That's it. He's only immune to the first 104. It makes the action scenes really boring. That is a problem. And in addition to that, the action scenes don't really serve a purpose. A lot of them end in these weird stalemates. Like, somebody decided, hey, we have to make sure there's at least one action scene in every single episode. So we end up with a lot of scenes that have no consequence. There's no real sense of danger because they're shooting at him, and we know that's not going to do anything. He does the car door thing again. He did this in season 1 where he rips a car door out and uses it as a shield that he doesn't need. There's no reason that would block anything, and he doesn't need it. He's bulletproof. He's just ruining somebody's car. Also, nobody thinks to shoot at Danny Rand. I really wish they would. I mean, they do that. They do it once, and then he gets behind Luke Cage, and then they just kind of don't do that anymore. They just attack him with like baseball bats and things, and then they shoot at the guy who's bulletproof. Now, to be fair, there is a scene where for some reason they do try to take down Luke Cage with baseball bats and machetes, but this is right in the same scene, right after a bunch of people shoot him with assault rifles, and it just bounces off. They're like, I got him. And they go and they try to hit him with a baseball bat. Why would I actually did not pause to go grab a snack, which is unprofessional of me, as somebody reviewing these things, but I didn't feel like I was going to miss anything, and I'm pretty sure I didn't. So the fight scenes, for the most part, the ones that don't involve Bushmaster, and we're going to get to why, kind of a snooze fest, if I'm being entirely honest. Matching thermos, completely coincidental. I am out of chocolate milk, so now I have to make my shake with water, which basically just makes it taste like dirty water. Like a freaking third world country in here. So let's talk about all the stuff that does work, and that might take a little while. There's a lot of good stuff to get on. Let's start with the villains. Shade's really good. A lot more depth to him this time, and I liked him a lot in the first one. Mariah is a great villain, and she is terrifying in this, and the actress who plays her is doing a terrific job. Bushmaster is a really good villain too. You know what's interesting about him? He can actually fight. Luke Cage, yeah, I mean he's big and he trained to fight, and they forced him to fight in season 1 when he was a prisoner. But if you think about somebody who's really trained in hand to hand, who has the same power set as him, is probably going to mess him up, and he does. He really does, and it's great because for those are the scenes where it actually feels like Luke Cage is in some trouble. And on this note, slight little side note, it's one thing that's always driven me a little bit nuts about Captain America in the MCU. Now, I love Steve Rogers in the MCU. I just think they do a fantastic job with that character. But it is kind of weird that he's able to fight all these people because he took the magic steroids. It just made him bigger. Like, I mean, I'm sure he'll kick my ass, sure. But against somebody with even some basic, real fighting skills, like Black Widow should be able to just whoop Cap's ass because she's trained to do that. And he, as far as we've seen, as far as I can think of, we've never seen him learn how to fight. He went to basic training. That was about it. He really shouldn't be able to hold his own as well as he does. In fact, it's bizarre to me that he even survived World War II. Being big doesn't really help in a war zone. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but there's bombs dropping out of planes, there's landmines, there's bullets flying all over the place, you got poisonous gas getting dispensed into the air. Who gives a shit how much you can bench? It's very strange to me that he continues to survive. He should be dead. Mr. Peanut Butter, do you think that I should kill Danny Rand? You do? Yeah. You want Danny Rand to die? Yeah. Yeah. Do you think I should also order a pizza with like everything on it? Yeah? Yeah, no vegetables? No? Okay. I'm going to order a pizza. Now, on the note of the good villains, the MCU gets a lot of crap about having weak villains. And for the most part, it's not really fair. They have a lot of villains that are just the same power set and sort of the opposite of the good guy. But these movies have been very much about character versus themselves, or if there's a team, the units of the team versus themselves. And the villains are really just sort of plot devices. I don't have a problem with that. Especially when I think about what superhero movies were like prior to 2008, when this whole ball of the MCU got rolling. Back then, the villain was really just about, who's Batman going to fight? Who's his two villains this time? Oh, this time it's going to be Catwoman and Penguin. And then next time, it's the Riddler and Two-Face. And they're just there, and they do some stuff that's sort of in line with their theme. Catwoman will do some cat-related puns, things like that. And the hero's just kind of there and rarely goes through a real story arc. So, yeah, I like the way the MCU does it. And if that means not always developing the villains as much as we might want, I don't consider that a terrible trade. And that said, they do have good villains. Not only was, Bushmaster a good villain, and Mariah and Shades, but Kilgrave, Killmonger, Fisk, Loki, Thanos, even Ultron. Ultron gets way too much crap. People say he's a weak villain. I don't know what they're talking about. Ultron is a great villain. Okay, you know what else I really liked about the season 2 of Luke Cage? There is, and this isn't really spoilery, at the end, there's this Godfather parody that you really think would take you kind of out of the whole thing and wouldn't work. But I'll be damned if it didn't work perfectly. And I confess, I can't really say why they managed to make that work so well, but it does. It has a great impact. And in the end, because I said earlier, it's hard to be concerned about Luke Cage, his well-being. You don't expect him to die. You don't expect him to be in any real trouble because everyone just shoots at him, even though we've clearly, as I said, that's not going to do it. But now, with that ending, who he is as a person is at stake. This actually follows in line with what happens in a lot of superhero movies. Usually in the second movie is about the character, do I still want to be this person or not? I think it started with Superman 2. Superman gives up his powers because he doesn't want to be Superman anymore. He wants to be Clark Kent. The second Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, Peter Parker decides he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. He wants to be Peter Parker. The second Fantastic Four movie, they started questioning whether or not they want to be superheroes anymore. Kick-Ass 2. Does Hit Girl want to be Hit Girl, or does she want to just be a teenager? X-Men, we had to wait for the third one for that to be a thing. Then they had the option to take this potion and not be mutants anymore. The list goes on. I mean, the second standalone Wolverine movie, same deal. So that's what we end up doing with this second season of Luke Cage. But not asking, does he want to be a hero or a regular guy, but does he want to be a hero or a villain that can kind of justify what he's doing, and we can watch him start to fall down those cracks and become a bad guy. That is how you build suspense and make you worry about a character who's invincible. I think I left the fan on for that last one, so you're probably going to hear it humming. Of course, now that it's off, you can probably hear the guy who lives on the other side of this wall laughing all crazy like his acid just kicked in. So pick your poison. Anywho, so here's one thing I definitely think the MCU should do. Now that Mariah, spoilers, Mariah and Shades are in prison, and it's going to be in New York, so a bunch of other people are in that same prison with them, like Fisk, like 3 Spider-Man villains, though granted, I don't know if Michael Keaton would be up for playing the Falcon in prison for a television show. I think he probably would need more money than they're willing to pay him to do it. I think the MCU needs a show that takes place in that prison and shows all these villains sort of making alliances, competing against each other, trying to take control of the place. And I think it'll be a great way to introduce some villains we're going to get later on. Just a thought. Also, while I'm putting out advice for the MCU here, because they should definitely listen to me, if we could just get one really good fight scene between Black Widow and Agent May, I think that would really do a lot to bring out their characters, especially if maybe just spitballing here, maybe it was in a pit of mud. Okay, shameless promotion time. So down here in the comment section, I'm going to have a link to my website where you can go and check out my company's first product. I just finished it literally the first of this month. Perfect Ramen. I have worked ridiculously hard on this, but I'm very happy with it. It's a deck building game. You're trying to bake a ramen the fastest against up to 3 other players. You use cards like gyoza, edamame, takoyaki to purchase cards that you're going to need to complete the ramen the fastest. It is a silly game. We have cards like the cuddly cheese grater, the invisible pizza cutter that might not even exist, and the infinite turducken of delicious doom. Okay, so my pizza's here, so I'm going to put that in my face, because that's where pizza goes. And we'll do more of these later. And I feel like I should have a catchphrase here. That just seems to be what everyone does right now. They have a catchphrase. What would... Gonorrhea Thunder Waffles.